Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton News Daily. Everton have signed a extension to the deal with Fanatics. It's a multi-year deal. We went down to the Liver Buildings to speak to Sasha Ryansky. Danny Downs from Fanatics on the deal. If you want to watch that, the video is on YouTube and is on Twitter. Basically, they just filled us in on the deal. They are very, very positive about it. They are talking about a new huge store within a new stadium at Bramley-Moore Dock. They are talking about being able to get kits all over the world quicker. So if you're a fan in America or a fan in Australia or wherever, kits should be on hand without any problems. We will hold them to that. It's all positive. They are dealing with some of the biggest brands in the world as Fanatics now, not as Kitbag. Don't forget they bought Kitbag a couple of years ago. And yeah, everything seemed positive. They seem to have a plan in place to push Everton worldwide by having the means to do that. So hopefully fans, say in America, will be able to buy kits that will be made in America and will be ready to go. So no worries about shipping costs or having to change shirts. It should all be localized, which hopefully means for fans, shirts will be in stores as well and things like that. So Everton are very excited about this deal. Fanatics seem very excited by this deal as well. It just helps everything move along. And whereas a few years ago I'd be very, very disappointed with Everton signing an extension, now under the Fanatics brand they seem to be in the right hands, because these are generally a leader in the field now. So no word on an extension of the kit makers. Umbro's 5 years is in its last year, but the fact that we haven't heard anything yet suggests that possibly that will be getting extended, although there hasn't been any confirmation on that, and that wasn't part of this announcement. So it all seems very, very positive moving forward. We'll have to wait and see. And as I said, the interview is on the video on YouTube, as well as me and Baz talking about it. Marcel Brands has spoken today about a play. He's talked about PSV youngster, I think he's under 19s Dutch player, Mohamed Heteran, if I pronounced that right. He said he would love to have him. He said he'd have him tomorrow at Everton, but he said he's in the right place for his development at PSV. So that suggests that maybe he thinks at PSV he'll get more first team action, and maybe down the line he could buy him. Maybe he thinks that if Everton was to bring him in, he'd probably just play in the under 23s and stagnate. I think that's a big problem for Everton, for these kind of players. It's all right saying you want to have the best players, but if you bring those players in at a certain age, what's going to happen to them? They're going to play in the under-23s. They're going to stagnate. They're not going to develop as well as they can by playing first-team football in places like Holland. It's a real tricky issue for a lot of Premier League teams, I think. Especially, you look at us now with the amount of youngsters we've got on loan, and I'll talk about one of those in a moment. But it's getting that development right, and it's about the right time when to buy them. When do you buy them? So Everton will probably be looking at buying a lot of these players maybe when they're 22, 23, or even a little bit younger. But they've got to be ready for our first team, because we just seem to be losing players to the system when they go into the under-23s. And I don't think that's anyone's fault. I just think that's the reality of how the under-23s work. Everton, could possibly win the under-23s Premier League 2 for the second time in 3 years this season. But how many of those players look capable of coming into the first team? Yes, Tom Davies is in there, and John Joe Kenny, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but a lot more of those players are out on loan, and will they ever fill the potential? It's a difficult balancing act, and I think that's one of the things that Marcel Brands has got to try and get right at Everton. I mean, which really is a long-term project. So I think by him saying that, I think he's basically saying, you come to Everton, you're just going to get the system doesn't work in England to help these players move on. So maybe when this kid gets a little bit older, plays a couple of years maybe at PSV, we will look again at him. Everton have been linked with Brahimi again, apparently, all the time. The links are there. So again, we've been linked to them. Yeah. Kieran Dow's getting rave reviews at Sheffield United. He played against Middlesbrough. He won 1-0, and apparently he played left wing back, and it was brilliant. interesting because I never seen him as a left wing back. I've seen him on the left, and he can be in and out the games, which has always been my big criticism of him. But left wing back, it's an interesting. I mean, obviously having Luca Dean at Everton, that would be in a position he would go into, but if it gets more out of him at Sheffield United, which means we get more out of him at Everton if he ever comes back, then that's fantastic news. But I always sort of seen him as a number 10, but maybe in this position he'd get worked a little bit more and have to be in the game a lot more. I think that's always been a criticism. He's not in the game enough because he drifts out of it, especially playing in a number 10 role. So maybe being in a position where he has to be at it all the time might get the best out of him. So yeah, hopefully we see more of that, and we see more of those performances before he comes back to the club. We'll end on some sad news. Ex-Everton coach Eric Harrison has passed away. He spent 9 years at Everton. Obviously he's remembered for being the Man United coach who brought the class of '92 through, but he was assistant manager this time at Everton with Gordon Lee as well. So a lot of fantastic tributes to him today. I think the most fantastic tribute you can pay to the man is you look at those players from the class of '92 and see where they all are now. That is probably the most fitting tribute you can pay the man. And the likes of Gary Neville, David Beckham, Phil Neville, Paul Scholes, they've all paid emotional tributes to him. So rest in peace to the man. There you have it. This has been today's Everton News Daily. Make sure to check out that video regarding the Fanatics deal and every other video we've got out. We'll see you later.